Coach Ram here, and today we'll be talking about the most common fault or issue I see with people performing pause work that actually happens in the deadlift, the squat, and even the bench press. We're going to show it mainly today in the squat because it's likely the most noticeable in squat and probably the most common in a squat as well. And that is the issue of not actually pausing in the first place. We have to understand that pause work for really any athlete is fantastic for a number of different reasons. It's a fantastic strength stimulus for the athlete, but furthermore, the main reason we get these benefits is that we're pausing at a very particular point in the actual lift, spending time under tension there, and then producing force from an absolute dead stop at that exact pause point. But the problem is, especially for the bench press and the squat, people will actually use a little muscle elasticity and dip down lower after they pause, not actually producing force from the dead stop that we're actually looking for, which very much hurts your ability to gain strength adaptations from this exercise or get the full benefit. So in the squat, what this typically looks like here, and I am going to do the sin of walking out forwards just for video purposes. For the squat here though, what's typically going to look like is you squat down, pause pretty well, and at the very last second, we dip down lower and then come up. We're using a muscle elasticity to come out of the hole, and when we do pause work, for the most part, the whole reason of doing it is that we're trying to actually not get elasticity in the first place. We want to take that away. We want to produce force from an absolute dead stop, which you're not doing if you do this. Pause pretty well, and then dip down lower and go. What we should be doing instead is pausing at the exact point that we're looking for, exact time that we're looking for, and then producing force from the exact position that you pause for. By doing this, you're actually going to get the intended benefit. Now, this also happens very commonly in the bench press, specifically the spoto press, where people are supposed to pause 2 inches off the chest for a 2 count or something along those lines. They come down, they're kind of slowly going down as they pause, and then they dip down lower and go, thus somewhat defeating the purpose of doing it in the first place. In the deadlift, usually it's less elasticity, though it will happen as well. Usually it's just never actually pausing and just kind of continually coming up and moving slower through the pause point and then coming up rather than actually pausing for the time allotment that we're looking for. So come to a true pause, do not use muscle elasticity, and produce force from a dead stop, just like our pause work is supposed to be performed.